morning, everybody. Welcome to Fridays on 42nd Street. I'm Katy Merriman, the artistic director here, and we have lots of friends here at the Playhouse, and we're going to give a quick shout out. Hi, we have some Wells Fargo volunteers here today. They are doing a paint project. Thank you for being here. Hi. Also, you may see next to me Adam Fast and Travis Edringon, two faces you have seen around the Playhouse a lot, I'm sure, if you've been involved in anything with us, especially in more recent years. Adam came to me in April and reminded me it was Autism Awareness Month and said we should also do a segment that goes beyond awareness and just learn and maybe include the word acceptance or just learning about people who have autism or people on the autism spectrum who work around here, because there are quite a few. These are two faces we see a lot, but JP Ungs was actually going to join us this morning and has sent me some information that we're going to share on JP's behalf, and we made a little JP smiley face here. So they're also going to be part of the conversation, but we're just going to talk to you guys. Sound good?
Yeah. Sounds great.
Great. Tell me what you do at the Playhouse.
So, as Katy mentioned, my name is Adam Fast. I am an actor, voice actor, director, voice director that is, and content creator. And I've been on stage at the Playhouse and a couple of other theaters as well.
How about you, Travis? What do you do here?
I do a lot of front of the house. I do a lot of sound, a bit with lights, and there's other technology-related stuff as needed.
What project are you involved in that's coming up and starting again?
Penguin Project. We are doing High School Musical Junior.
This fall. It's going to be great. Okay, just to share on behalf of JP. So JP last summer was one of our tech interns for the summer, also has grown up doing classes, has worked in our education department, has also been on stage, even just this past year, choosing Guys and Dolls. She's been involved with the Penguin Project for 2 summers. She's graduating from Drake this summer with a BFA in Theater Design and Technology. All over the place. We're covering every area of the theater here, just between the 3 of you. The second question I have is, what would you like people to know about you? It can pertain to having autism and being on the spectrum, or it can just be something about you. What would you like people to know? Travis, you go first.
I mean, there's so many things. First, each person with autism is very different. So some of these are going to pertain just to me. Some of these are going to be broader spectrum. If we're trying to talk to you and we don't maintain eye contact, that's kind of normal. I've actually almost passed out once trying to maintain eye contact when talking with someone.
Whoa.
Yeah. Please don't touch us without us knowing, especially from behind. There's been times where someone would come up, pat me on the back for doing something good, and I just about jump.
Yeah, not good. Not your style.
No.
That's fine.
Yeah, just in general, if we do something that doesn't make sense, ask us. Because there's been times where I've gotten in fights with friends, and it was just simply that the way that I use words or understand concepts is differently than what most people understand and do. And we finally would talk about it a week later, and it's like, oh, wow, that actually makes sense, but wow, that's not what most people think. Okay.
Sure, like
and
you need to misinterpret each other sometimes.
Yes.
Cool. JP actually had something kind of along the same lines. She says, one thing I would like people to know about autism is that we communicate differently sometimes, or we have difficulty with things that would seem easy to others, but we want to be involved in the conversation. And one thing about JP specifically is she finds it easy to be a character on stage in front of a big audience, but then has difficulty more with like one-on-one conversations, kind of what you were talking about, which is so cool and interesting. That to me is like an actor superpower. How about you, Adam?
Yeah, pretty much what Travis and JP already said. But I know one of the biggest struggles that I've had to deal with is sometimes I don't exactly know how I come across to other people, because anyone who knows me knows that I have a really active imagination. And I know some things I can say are a little bit strange and bizarre, but, you know, we just want to have fun like everyone else. We just like each other's company. And yes, we might be different, but we like to focus on similarities rather than differences.
It also reminds me, actually, kind of in a broader way, about Native Gardens, which is what we're doing right now upstairs. It opens next Friday. Be there. And just about kind of intersectionality and how everyone is made up of so many different layers, and to say, like, this is one thing about me doesn't mean that it's the only thing about you, or also that you don't represent all people who also align with that little category, right? I think, Adam, we were talking just a few minutes ago about how, like, we're all made up of different pieces, and I do think, like, when you incorporate the wholeness of a person, you end up finding similarities or the right place for them to be, if we're going to bring it back to the theater. So anyone who walks in the door and wants to do something here, there's a place for. We just figure it out and do what works for you, because it's a great thing about our building. There's so many different ways people can be involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was talking to you about this before, but as humans, we like to have boxes. We like to organize and structure our lives so that they fit into a nice little box. And we do that with other people as well. We classify others into some collectives like the college kids or the guys next door or the seniors.
Millennials.
Millennials represent.
We're all millennials.
Represent, yeah. But sometimes if you're different, then you don't fit into other people's boxes. But in my experience, I'm not sure if I can speak on Travis's behalf, but sometimes the strangest things and the most bizarre things can actually be the greatest assets in your life.
Superpowers.
Yeah. They are superpowers.
Awesome.
100%.
It's something that you mentioned with Secret Gardens, and as well as the metaphor of fitting in boxes. Adam, JP, and I, so autism's a wide spectrum, and we're on the higher end. We are able to verbally communicate with you guys, and you know, I know JP and I, we're both pretty good about masking, making it look like that we don't have autism. There's a whole range all the way down to like people that can't talk or they can't mask at all.
Nonverbal.
Yeah, some people are surprised when I mention that I'm autistic.
That's, I think, one of the interesting things about it too, like what a spectrum you had said, and especially in the Penguin Project, I think we meet a lot of younger people who are really like, they're so different from each other. We have some nonverbal actors and verbal actors, and I don't know, everything in between. It is very interesting.
Yeah.
But
also,
there's a place, Leanne.
We have a comment from a viewer, our good friend Paul Honnold.
Oh, Paul!
Now he's also on the autism
yes.
spectrum.
Yes.
Woo!
Good old Paul.
And I don't know if anybody was able to hear me, but so feel free to.
Paul Honnold just reached out and gave us a comment and said, "Hey, I'm on the autism spectrum too." And Paul has been a cast member, a volunteer for a long time, and also works with the Penguin Project at the Playhouse and does theater all over town.
Yeah.
And he brightens up everywhere he goes.
He does. He's a ray
He really
of
does.
sunshine.
He
Do you have
is.
something else to add?
Yes. Something that they've been finding recently with people with autism is that usually autism is just one of the many neurological conditions that we have. I have ADD, depression, anxiety, narcolepsy, and we only found that out last summer. And I wasn't even diagnosed with autism until that's like 2021.
Wow.
Yeah.
I got a couple of those too.
Yeah. And as for me, I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome when I was roughly about 10 or so. I was probably in 4th grade. And of course, that's back when it wasn't as well known.
Yeah.
And the awareness wasn't there. And we didn't have as much awareness as we do right now. And I'm just thankful for all of the support I had garnered throughout my journey, and the fact that we can interact with people who operate on the same wavelength as us, it's just great.
Okay, one final question before we go. If someone is working on a show with you and there is some kind of feels like there's a glitch in communication or something, would you rather that person just explained that and had a conversation, or would you rather that they worked that out outside of dealing directly with you?
There's kind of a both category in there.
Uh-huh.
There'll be times where like we might be able to work it out together. There might be times where I'm going to actually bring you into a conversation because you've known me for so long that you kind of know how I operate in ways that are different than most people, and so you can kind of help interpret between us.
Okay, how about you?
Yeah, I second that. Usually, if there's a problem, I will just ask someone. There's just a little bit of tension here. You know him or her, and I know you. Do you think maybe we can sort of ease everything out, because we don't want there to be problems?
No, not at all. And I have communication problems with everybody across the board in all shows, so it's something I'm always like, what do we do in this scenario? What do we do in this scenario? So I appreciate feedback because it helps me learn too.
Because I know a lot of people think, oh, I'm a big gossip, or I want to hear all the gossip. And it's not that. It's I'm trying to.
I have never heard that of you, Travis.
I'm very bad at detecting sarcasm. I feel like that was sarcasm.
That was sarcasm. Also, I think you're just an analytical person.
Well, and that's a lot of it is I'm just trying to understand like how someone came to a certain decision, or what they actually mean by something that they say. Mm-hmm. When I'm in big conversations, I actually kind of fade into background. Part of that's because it takes me a lot longer to process a conversation and then be able to come up with a response. And by the time I have a response, we're 3 topics later.
That's good to know.
So yeah, it's not. I'm not trying to look for juicy details. I'm just trying to understand.
I love that. Okay, well, thank you both so much for being here today. Thanks, JP.
Thank you
for joining us. And yeah, if anyone else wants to keep commenting or having conversations, that's great. Don't forget that we have Native Gardens opening next Friday, June 2nd, and then the next Monday, June 5th, we have auditions for Once. I know this is a long one today, but I'm still going to say this. If you play an instrument like an accordion, a string instrument, violin, cello, electric bass, mandolin, guitar, if you like to sit on that little box called a cajon and you're a percussionist, we're looking for all of that. And we'll teach you how to sing and act if you need us to. So if you're an instrumentalist in particular, also obviously the performers who are looking for the next audition, please sign up. You can do that now. And we'll see you June 5th for those auditions. That's all I have today. That's enough. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.